Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to I'm Talking Waffles. I'm your host, Ileana. So I have been doing exceedingly well with my NaNoWriMo writing, which is super exciting. I'm recording this episode on a Friday instead of a Saturday because I have a hair appointment tomorrow and it's going to last like all day. So I'm just going to record today instead of my usual day on the weekends because I'm getting my hair, like my roots redone. I'm getting the front part of my hair bleached so I can make it purple. Well, so they make it purple. And then I'm also getting my hair cut and like styled and stuff. So I'm going to be there for like 4 hours and I'm excited, but I also am like, I don't want to be anywhere for more than like 30 minutes. So it'll be fine. I'll survive. So that's why I'm doing my podcast recording today. So that way everybody can listen to it on a Monday because new podcast episodes come out every Monday. But I digress. I have hit over 20,000 words right now, which is super cool. I'm technically a day ahead in my writing, which is super duper fancy. And I'm having so much fun. I am just really excited about how this story is coming out, this novel's coming out. So yeah, it's turned out really well and I'm just really happy about it. So yeah, there's that. And then the other day, so for my work, we're going to this big SaaS conference for all of next week. And so I was like, okay, I need to go to the thrift store and get some shoes because, okay, I think it was a weekend or 2 weekends ago at this point where I was looking for shoes because I wanted to get a nice pair of shoes, black heels that matched my outfits. But everywhere I went, they were $90. I'm I'm not going to spend $90 on a pair of shoes I'm going to wear once a year? No, sir. So a reasonable human being that I am, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the thrift store. And luckily for me, I had a dentist appointment, which was just a general teeth cleaning. And then they gave me the last of my Invisalign trays for phase 1, which I explained in my Invisalign episode, which you can listen to on any of these listening platforms. Whatever you're listening to this episode on, you can listen to that episode on. So yeah, I'm on tray 7 of 11 now. And then once I finish that, I get into the second phase, which will work on adjusting my bite. But yes, so basically, yeah, I was at the dentist, and right next to my dentist is a Value Village, which is amazing because I actually used to live really close to this Value Village, which is why my dentist was super close there, but then I moved and stuff. But yeah, I love this Value Village. It's my favorite. So I go in there and I'm like, okay, it is time to get some shoes. So the line was ridiculous too. The line, as soon as I got into the store, was it was like Santa Claus. And I was like, oh my goodness, that line is going to take forever. So I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, I need shoes. And I go there and I'm like, where are my shoes? What shoes fit me? And luckily they have them all organized by size. So I just go down to my size and they had so many nice shoes that I actually bought 3 pairs of shoes, 1 pair of flats, 2 pairs of heels. One of them are these black heels with a cool strap on the side. And then the other ones are black and white, so modern and cute. I love it. It's going to match one of the outfits that I have planned out for the event. So I'm so pumped for that. It's going to be amazing. And so I get these shoes and I'm like, okay, that line is still super long. So, I mean, there's no harm in browsing the rest of this thrift store, right? And so I walk around and I go down and I know that I wanted to get a button-up white collared shirt because those look really cute under knit vests and stuff. And I don't own any long sleeved white collared shirts. I had a short sleeve one, but not a long sleeve one, and it's cold now, so I need long sleeve stuff. So I'm going through and I ended up buying so many clothes that they gave me 2 bags of clothes. And I'm actually wearing one of the items right now and it's so cute. I love it. So some of the stuff that I got was mostly just cute collared button-ups. And the one that I'm wearing right now is a super, super soft pink sweater that looks and feels like a pillow or a blanket. It's just really soft and I love it so much. I just love soft things. So I had a lot of fun at the thrift store. It was quite the experience. And yeah, I love going to the thrift store. I don't really live too close to one anymore, so I don't get to go as often as I'd like. So I got to make the most of my time when I'm at that thrift store. And then the thrift store also happens to be next to a dollar store. So I picked up some Christmas decorations as well. So I'll be decorating my apartment pretty soon. And I'm really excited about that because I don't even really like Christmas, in all honesty. I like cheesy Christmas movies and I like the Christmas lights, But I also like decorating, but I don't really actually care about Christmas at all. So yeah, don't take my excitement about Christmas as about Christmas. It's just an excuse for me to decorate and do all that stuff. So yeah. But yes, on to today's topic, which is, as you may or may not know, I grew up in a very large family, not including myself, 10 siblings. And yes, to answer the question you have, yes, they're from the same parents. No, there are no twins, no triplets, and we're all about a year or two apart, give or take. This couple of the younger ones are a little more spread out year-wise, but we're all pretty close in age. The oldest is 32, I think, right now, and the youngest is 14. Anybody who's listening won't know their ages anyway, so it's fine. So, yeah, I grew up in a very large family, and when you have such a big family, it's pretty cool because you have like a lot of friends in a way. And so we made up a lot of games as kids, and that's what I want to talk about today. So let's talk about some of the very strange and oddly specific games that I played with my siblings and just the experience, what it was like growing up with that many people. Growing up with a lot of siblings was pretty cool. And so some of my favorite games, I actually made a list of some of my favorite games that I played with my siblings, as well as like some of my favorite kind of memories that I have with them when we were really, really little. So the first game I wanted to talk about was Oogie Ball, which was essentially like rugby. And I believe it was my oldest brother who came up with it. And honestly, I didn't like Oogie Ball, but we played Oogie Ball. And all I remember about Oogie Ball is you have this football and you have to like throw it to like the corner, like over at the swings or over towards like the fence. And you were allowed to tackle people. So I didn't like Oogie Ball because I watched someone like fall into the dirt and get covered in mud and get hurt. So that was Oogie Ball. That was probably one of my least favorite games. But to kind of contrast against that, my all-time favorite games were sandbox games. And sandbox games were great. We basically just had like a bunch of different toys, like anything you could think of. Action figures, dolls, like those weird Mr. Potato Head or like those Play-Doh thins, like not the Play-Doh, but like the plastic thins. Basically anything plastic that you could play with was in that sandbox. And every single year it was always really exciting because one of my older brothers is a very good storyteller and very good at creating games. He does like DMing for Dungeons & Dragons and stuff. So it was just his calling. And so every year when my dad would go to get like a big batch of like sand to redo the sandbox, he would hide it was Gandalf, but we called it God. I mean, he kind of looks like God in a way, like how people depict him. He would hide Gandalf and he would hide Venom. And Venom would be like the bad guy because he was a pretty scary looking action figure. And Gandalf would be the good one. And then we would get the sand and we would bury them underneath this whole new thing of sand. And then we would start laying rocks around and start setting up all of our characters. And this is how we would start off like the kind of like the summer or like the late springtime, like whenever you get sand in your sandbox. And then we just started playing games with them. I played as a lot of different Dragon Ball Z characters. We had a ton of Dragon Ball Z action figures. We had some like ducks as well and like literally anything. Think bathtub toys, think action figures, everything. It didn't matter what it was from. It was in that sandbox. And essentially one of the main games that we always liked to play was we would just follow along with a story that my brother would make up. And we didn't know where Gandalf or Venom were like buried. And so if we accidentally dug up Venom, then like if our characters aren't strong enough, they're gonna like die and get murdered. But if we dig up Gandalf, then he's gonna kind of train us and teach us how to be like better fighters and like how to lift rocks with your mind, which is just like us picking up rocks, but it's the game. And it was just a lot of fun. And we had a lot of fun adventures in the sandbox. And we would play like morning until night, until it got dark out. Like we loved the sandbox and I still love the sandbox. It was definitely my favorite kind of time with my siblings. And it's especially great because you get to just hang out with all of your fun little siblings and you get to play just a bunch of games and tell stories and that. So I love the sandbox. It was a great time. Another weird game that I don't know how we didn't die when we played this one was called Avalanche. And essentially one person would lay at the bottom of the staircase and we would designate two people to be like snow dogs, which I'll explain what this means in a second. And then everybody else would pile up pillows and blankets and towels on the top of the stairs. And somebody would shout, "Avalanche!" And they would push all of the pillows and blankets to the bottom of the stairs until it buried the person who was laying at the bottom of the stairs. And then the people who are chosen as snow dogs would have to either A, go down in a laundry basket, in the laundry basket down the stairs, or just kind of run down the stairs on all fours and begin to dig the person out of the avalanche. Now you can see why this game is like obviously very deadly, and I don't know how none of us ever died doing that, but that was one of the games that we played. Another game that I remember playing that probably could have hurt me was how far from the stairs can you jump? And basically, this game was you would start at the bottom stair, you jump to the landing. If you can do that, you get to the second stair. You jump to the landing, and then the third, and then you jump to the landing until you make it all the way to the top. Some of my siblings could do it. They could jump from the top of the stairs and get to the landing no problem. I could not. I was always too scared. So I could never do that one. So that was an interesting game that we kind of all played together. And then, not really games, but some of my favorite memories with my siblings. One of them I think I like just because I one-upped my oldest brother in it, was my oldest brother really wanted to learn how to do a backflip. And he was trying really hard, and he was explaining like how to do it and this stuff. And I was like, oh, I bet I can do that. And I did it. I did a backflip, and he got so mad and so jealous because I did a backflip on like my second try or something, and everybody saw it. So I couldn't just, the people wouldn't just be like, oh, she's just saying she did a backflip. I legit did a backflip, and I landed on my feet, and it was amazing. I'll never forget how jealous my oldest brother was of me, and it was the most amazing time in my life. Another one that I really enjoyed was me and the brother 1 year older than me. We used to steal Starburst from my grandma's room because she loves candy, and we love Starburst. So we would sneak into her room when she wasn't there or if she was asleep, and we would just steal as many Starburst as we could, and we would run under the air hockey table, and we would start to open them all up and create our own little stash, because I really like the pink and the red ones. And I honestly, I can't remember which ones he liked, but probably also the pink and red ones, because if you don't like those ones, like, why are we eating Starburst in the first place? And so I was like, okay, we would go under there, we would open them all up, and I would create a special stash of my pink and red ones, and he'd create a special stash of his, and that way we could go under the air hockey table and just like eat the Starburst whenever we wanted. And we also had like these bags full of, I don't know what they were full of, but it was soft. So it might have been toys or towels or blankets. And we kind of used them as beanbag chairs. So we'd sneak under there. We would sit on these like bags under the air hockey table, and we would just eat our Starburst and just chit chat. And it was just really cute. And I love that memory. Another one with this same brother was he and I decided to conspire to paint his room green because his favorite color was green. So we went like under his bed and we got a bunch of green paint, and we slowly started like painting the floor green, but then eventually we got caught and then we weren't able to paint his floor green. So there was that one. Another game that I just remember that we used to play, we called it the Hooms. And the reason we call that is because in The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, in the Forsaken Fortress, there are like these big goblin-like creatures that you have to sneak past. And if they catch you, you get thrown into jail. And they always make like a sound. And so basically this game was somebody would be, what we called them the Hooms. I don't actually know their real name because we always just called them the Hooms. But in this game, somebody would be a Hoom. And then everybody else would basically be the people trying to sneak by. And so we would decide, okay, what rooms are off limits? Where do we have to be? And usually the kitchen was like the end destination. So we would start from the top floor, and then we'd have to sneak all the way to the kitchen without getting caught. And so that was, I love that game. That was one of our favorite games to play as well. We had a pool as well growing up. So we had this like candy strawberry, and it was like a plastic shell that looked like a strawberry, and inside of it was like a bunch of strawberry flavored, kind of like Fun Dip, but it wasn't Fun Dip. And so when we finished eating that, we had this little plastic strawberry that we'd play this game called Domo. And Domo was basically everybody would get in the pool, and somebody would take this plastic strawberry and they would yell D-O-M-O, Domo, and then they would throw the strawberry in the air, And then we're all in the pool, and so we have to basically try and fetch that strawberry, and whoever got it first wins. So that was one of the games that we played as well. It was Domo. So that was fun. Another iconic one that every single one of my siblings played that I love, and it was basically like a trivia game. It was called Up to the Moon. And basically what would happen is my dad would line us all up on the swings, and we'd all take our seat on the swings, and we would start off not swimming. And the game would basically be, he would ask us like a trivia question, always starting off with what makes the grass green. And then we would answer chlorophyll, and he would say up to the moon, and he would like pick up the swing and then kind of like let it go. So we would start to build that momentum. And the more questions you get right, the higher you get pushed into, well, not into, but like pushed up higher, like up to the moon. Which, a fun fact, that there was this free thing that I found online that talked about like, you can put a message and send it to the moon. So I checked into it, and it was actually legit. And so I actually sent up to the moon. Well, I think I wrote, hey, I did it. I made it up to the moon. And then I sent that out, and it actually it's on the moon now. So that's super cool. So I literally got up to the moon because of that little game. And so, yeah, I thought that was kind of cute. So I really liked that game. That was a lot of fun as well. Another one that was questionable was this one my dad hated so much. This is the game we would call drug dealer. And basically, it was usually my brother who would be the drug dealer. And what he would do is he would put on like my oldest brother's trench coat, because obviously being little kids, the trench coat is gigantic on him. And then he would take like a bunch of candy and he would tape it in the coat. And then sometimes he would like crush up rockets and like put it in like some saran wrap and make it look like a little baggie of stuff. And then he would basically walk around in like dark corners and be like, hey, you want to buy some drugs? And we'd be like, yeah, we want to buy some drugs. And we just got candy from him. And it was very questionable. My dad hated that game. And anytime he saw us playing it, he was like, no, stop. Like, why are you even doing that? Like, what is up with these children of mine? So yeah, we used to play drug dealer as kids. I have no idea why. Another more questionable one was the Michael Jackson ghost. And that was basically hide and seek, except the person was Michael Jackson. And honestly, I don't even know why. This is a very questionable game because it was just hide and seek, but for some reason it was Michael Jackson. And then when Michael Jackson passed away in like 2009, I think it was, we turned the game into the Michael Jackson ghost, where he would make like, he was just a ghost and he would make Michael Jackson sounds. And it was just really, really strange. So yeah, having 10 siblings means that you create your own version of popular games. So we didn't play hide and seek. No. We played Michael Jackson Ghost. And of course, like every child, we also played The Floor is Lava, which apparently everybody in the whole world has played. And I have no idea how everybody in the world knows to play that game. But yeah, everybody played that game. Of course, we played that game. And honestly, it's a lot of fun. I know a lot of people say like, oh, I hate my siblings, or oh, my siblings are so annoying. But I really like my siblings. We have a lot of fun. Oh, how could I forget? Okay, I would have been murdered if I didn't include this in the episode. HWP. HWP was like the pinnacle of my childhood. And basically, HWP stands for Humans with Powers. And it's exactly how it sounds. This, again, was a game created by my storytelling brother, and he would usually host these games. And Humans with Powers, we would just choose, like we would create our own character and we would give them a power, and then we would just play a game, and it was on the trampoline, and he would just like kind of tell stories, and we would all kind of walk around in circles on the trampoline, and we would like do like fake fighting scenes and like just tell, it was just like it was fun. It was basically just like a role-playing game as children. And so that was really fun because you always have somebody to play with, which is super nice, and you get to just have lots of fun. Which, speaking of trampolines, another thing my siblings and I used to do growing up was trampoline pool, which even though we had a pool, we decided that we would rather do trampoline pool, which is when you would take a hose and you would attach it to the trampoline net and you would turn it on full blast, and you would attach one of those like nozzles on it so you could have it like spray certain directions. And then we would just jump around on the trampoline with this like hose attached to it, spraying water at us, and that was trampoline pool. So I guess kind of like in short, like my experience with growing up with 10 siblings, obviously like because of the massive age ranges between 30 and like 32 and 14, it's not like we all gonna hang out together at the exact same time. But the siblings very close in my age, like the two below, there's three below me, but two below I hang out with the most. There's one a little older than me as well who I hang out with, and like we are just like the closer the age, the more we kind of hang out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so it's really cool because having all these siblings means that you get to just interact with a variety of different people and personalities and play different games and interact with ages. And honestly, it's a lot of fun. And I say this without a doubt that my siblings are indeed my best friends and they are super awesome. And it was really fun, like just playing all these games and having people to hang out with growing up. And yeah, 10 siblings also makes you immune to really loud sounds because there is a lot of stuff happening at the same time when you have that many people in a house. So there are a lot of perks to having a lot of siblings. And yeah, that was just kind of like my experience and like my favorite games growing up with that many siblings and how we kind of altered them. And yeah, it's just cute, happy little memories that I have with them, and it's super sweet. And so yeah, I hope you enjoyed hearing some of those fun little memories and fun little games that I used to play with my siblings. And yeah, with that, let's jump over to everybody's favorite part of the show, which is the fun fact of the day. So today's fun fact is dun dun dun! So I love this fun fact. Having older siblings can make you shorter. So I am on the shorter side, and basically this says that if you are on the shorter side, your brothers and sisters, like your older brothers and sisters, are to blame, because a New Zealand study of 312 children found that firstborn children tended to be taller than the secondborn being taller than the thirdborn, etc., etc., etc. So me being number 8, it makes sense why I didn't really get the height department, for sure. So with that, I am going to wish you a great rest of your morning, great rest of your evening, great rest of your night, great rest of your apocalypse, and great rest of your memory making and game alteration. Because there's nothing better than altering a well-known game like hide and seek and making it strange for a game for just you and your siblings, like Michael Jackson Ghost hide and seek version. Okay, bye!